Hi, I really appreciate you guys asking me to come speak. I will start by saying that I am a teacher, not a preacher, so I probably won't have you coming to the front, but hopefully you'll learn something from what I have to say. Like she said, I am a licensed therapist here in town. I practice at, it's called the Halen Centers. Halen's not a very common word, but it's Anglo-Saxon, and it means, or the word heal is derived from, so it's healing. For the past couple of years, I've been studying really deeply family systems theory with a couple of giants in the field. So I've got to learn a lot about mothering. Family systems theory is kind of the study of the interactions between family members and how that impacts our behaviors, thoughts, and feelings. So I was asked to come speak about mothering today. As you can see, it's not the science of being a mom, it's the science of mothering. Mothering is a verb, not a noun. So anyone can mother. A dad can mother, a lady without children can mother, a grandparent can mother, even a child can mother. In the psychology world, we kind of focus on mothering as kind of a core root from nurturing. And if we can go into the next slide, there we go. Okay, and so nurturing, we've kind of have like three key elements, see, listen, and touch, or what we've kind of narrowed that down to. And Virginia Satir, I just love this quote. She's actually what we call the mother of family theory, therapy. And she said, "I believe the greatest gift I can give or conceive of having from anyone is to be seen by them, heard by them, to be understood by them, and to be touched by them." And that's super powerful. I'm actually going to tell a little story on myself, which I didn't plan on doing, but I'm going to do it because I think it'll help illustrate this. So I got here today a little late, like around 11 o'clock. And I snuck in the door, and of course, I'm like a huge introvert, so I'm not just gonna be like, "Hey, how's it going?" So I walk in, and then I see, someone's already speaking, everybody's sitting down. Probably the people that I know are like in the center of a row, so I'm not gonna be able to go there. And so I'm feeling really disconnected from this thing that's happening. And my first instinct is, okay, I'm just gonna sit on the back row. Well, there was no seats on the back row. So I started scanning the outside rows, right? The outside of the rows, and I finally found a little seat over here and sat, and the speaker finished, and we kind of went to a break. And Miss Diane kind of came up behind me and put her arm around me and said, "It's so good to see you." And she said, "I'm really looking forward to hearing you speak." So she hit all three of those in like 3 seconds. Like, she saw me, she touched me, and she told me she wanted to listen to me. And then all of a sudden, I felt, connected. I'm a part of this now, right? I'm gonna try not to get emotional. There's so many people that you pass every day who don't feel like they belong. And some of those people are people that you wouldn't expect. I see those people in my office that you think have it all together. And maybe it's just in a certain context like it was for me, but we have so many opportunities that we may be missing because we're not seeing people, we're not paying attention, we're not touching them because maybe we feel like we're uncomfortable, or we're not listening because we're making it all about us. So those are three very important parts of nurturing. And if you'll go ahead and go to the next one. So why is nurturing important? Well, like I said, when you feel connected, all of a sudden you feel a sense of okayness. And you feel like your self-esteem is maybe going up a little bit. You feel more confidence in yourself. And so when we have high self-esteem, we're more likely to take risks. We're going to thrive. We're going to grow. And when we have low self-esteem, we're going to have more mental health issues, and we're going to have less confidence, more relational issues, stuff like that. If you think about a plant or a flower that's not doing so well, maybe it's not thriving or it's dying, you don't blame the plant, right? You don't say that's a bad plant, that's a bad flower. You change the soil, and you maybe water it or add less water. Maybe you put it in a different place to get different sun. And so you're nurturing the plant, right? And so people are going to thrive and grow when they're in a nurturing environment, when they're being nurtured. Okay? The next point that I'm going to go to, and this gets more into the nitty-gritty science of psychology of it, but actual mothers and their babies do a thing called mirroring. This is getting into like attachment theory. And the process of mirroring is where we kind of mimic the expressions of our babies. So like when they're smiling, we'll smile. When they're crying, we kind of have a concerned face. And what we're doing when we do that, it's so important for attachment and bonding. We're assuring and validating the baby that what they're feeling, the way that they're expressing that is okay. Like, yes, that's how you express that feeling. That's how, I'm going to meet your need. And so we're telling them at a really, really young age that you can express feelings, and that's an okay thing to do. And so it's really important. The statement underneath that it says, we may not experience the self as real unless someone reflects their experience of us back to us. Okay? We have a stronger sense of self when we can see ourselves in the face of others, right? As much as I want to be able to tell you that you can just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and build your self-esteem by yourself, that you don't need anybody, it's just not possible. We have to be in a relationship with others and with God, and that's where that comes from, okay? I'm going to do a little experiment with you guys, so to kind of illustrate this, I'm going to show you some pictures of some emotions, and I want you to have kind of a sense or an awareness in your body and see what you're experiencing when you see those emotions, if there's a shift for you. Okay, so go ahead and stare at this one for a minute. And just be aware of the feelings that come up, maybe memories, thoughts. Your sense of self is adapting to what you're seeing. Okay, let's go to the next one. You're so cute. Okay, the next one. All right, and the next one. Okay, so he taught the master class on mothering and nurturing. That's Jesus, right? Okay, so we're going to go into how he taught us how to see and listen and touch. And we'll start with see. Seeing the people, he felt compassion for them because they were distressed and dispirited like sheep without a shepherd. Matthew 9:36. So if you'll notice, what follows seeing is compassion. We can't have compassion for people if we're not looking for them, if we're not seeing them. Okay? And that means you have to see all people. You can't just see people that agree with you. Okay? Because everybody needs nurturing. And the way that Jesus showed seeing, the first thing that comes to mind is Zacchaeus, right? He saw Zacchaeus up in the tree. He saw Peter in the boat. He saw the woman at the well. I mean, he didn't just like stay in his town and wait for people to come to him. Like, he went looking for people. All right, let's go to the next one. Listen. This is hard for people to do. It just is. Like, I feel like we're in an epidemic of having people that don't feel heard. And a lot of that is the polarization of where our country is right now. We have a lot of people that they think they're right, and if you don't agree with them, they're not going to listen to you. And we're not respecting our differences, and it's really sad because a lot of people are walking around just not feeling heard. And again, so like listening is a skill. It's about validating, so you're not making it about you. You're listening to the other person, and you're saying that's okay for them to have those feelings and those. we go into this a lot with couples therapy. Woo! That's just hard for people to do. And the verse that I put up here is, the purpose of a man's heart are deep waters, but a man of understanding draws them out. And some interpretations of this verse are kind of malevolent, and like, I understand that. The way I interpret it is that the purpose of a man's heart are deep waters is that we're not going to be vulnerable until we're listened to. How many Brene Brown fans in here? Vulnerability, right? So in order to get to that space, for you to know me, I have to know that you want to know me. So I'm not going to open up unless I'm being listened to. Okay, let's go to the next one. Touch. That's the last one. Moved with compassion. Okay, so remember we see and we get the compassion, and now we're moved, and so we want to touch. Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him and said to him, I am willing, be cleansed. Immediately the leprosy left him and he was cleansed. So Jesus touched lots of people. He laid hands on people. He washed his disciples' feet, and he touched people that no one else would touch. You guys are great at touch, by the way, because I was just looking around the room, like when we would do worship, and y'all just have like hands on each other, and like you're walking up and hugging and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is great. Touch is so important. And just think of, well, I guess even if we go into science again, there's actually a cuddle hormone. So like when you hug someone, you release oxytocin, which is the cuddle hormone, and then serotonin, which makes you feel happy. So there's actually a chemical release in the body when you're touched. But it has to be for a certain length of time. So it has to be like a good hug. It can't just be a little side hug, right? Okay, and the last thing that I just want to point out, we possess a fundamental understanding that each person has inherent worth since we are made in the image and likeness of God. Everyone deserves mothering, and everyone can mother.